Yali Madad to all friends online on this Sunday morning. Thank you for joining this session. I will start with some zikr first. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ali Allah Madad Farma. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Shukran lillahi walhamdulillah. Ya Mawla, I seek your help, Mawla. Mushkil kusha, Ali Allah, Madad Farma. Like to request all friends, please stay on mute. Today we'll talk about spiritual science. I have in the past talked about this topic, so for some of you it will be dars-e-mukarrar, repetition of what you have learned with some new additional point. When we talk of science, the physical science is the lower end and spiritual science is a higher end. We all know that physical science is studied through observation and study of nature. And one of the branches is medical science. Again, through study of human body, this science has come to an existence to help humans to heal from sickness, to live healthy lives. So each science has its purpose. The purpose of spiritual science is to study our soul, to study and observe our soul. The same methods are used. When we study through knowledge, learning from books of our Buzurgwar-e-Deen, Quran, Farman, Ginan, to understand the wisdoms in it. As Prophet Muhammad has said, Al-Hikmatu Zalatul Mu'min. Wisdom is the lost treasure of Mu'min. In Quran, chapter 2, verse 269 says, He grants wisdom to whom He pleases. And he to whom wisdom is granted is indeed granted abundant good. But none remember except human of understanding. But none remember except human of understanding. It is only through understanding of true knowledge, learning about it, that we are able to see these rewards, these blessings. P. Sadaddin says, Atma Ram tame bada ginani. Tari vigat kere na jani. Meaning that my soul, you are very knowledgeable, learned. But nobody knows the treasure which you have inside you, in the soul. This treasure of wisdom is ours. Knowledge of spirituality is ours. But it has been forgotten. Sultan Muhammad Shah, may our souls be sacrificed to this Imam. Imam has made this farman in October 18th, 1903 at Wadwa camp. He says there is even an excuse in other communities about doomsday, that they were unaware of the Satpanth religion. But you Arabs, Badakhshani, Khojas, Momnas, as well as all other smiley Satpanthi cannot produce any excuse in doomsday. The world is but for 2 days, in which you are deceived by shaitan. there is a treasure of wealth beneath your feet. There is a treasure of wealth beneath your feet, upon which is a heap of the dust, which you cannot remove on this or that side, so that treasure may come to your hands. So the point I wanted to emphasize here in this firman is a treasure of wealth which is beneath our feet, upon which there is a heap of dust. Now that dust is the soil, it's the earth, which is represented by a person, human. When we start taking knowledge and that soil which accepts the water becomes clay, that's the time that when we are able to learn and move that soil which is just beneath our feet to be able to get to that treasure. Alhamdulillah, we all are here mustajib because we have undertaken this study to elevate in spiritual lives. Shukr alhamdulillah. And we are blessed by this COVID-19 that we have united with so many friends to learn this knowledge. So the purpose of study is to recognize the soul. As Maula Ali says, Man arfa nafsehi faqad arfa rabbihi. Recognition of self is the recognition of Lord. Now here self is actually meaning soul. A dead person has name but no soul. So general understanding is that soul is one. But in reality, we have unlimited number of particles in our being. Soul is actually world of particles. Our body is having the world of cells. Each particle of soul gives life to each cell. In Quran, there is a verse, Ya ayyuhan nasu taqu rabbakumul lazi khalqakum min nafsin wahidatin. O humankind, be dutiful to your Lord who created you from one soul. Now this one soul is divided into unlimited souls and we became the world of humanity, Alam-e-Nasut. This one human soul now is divided into unlimited particles, the world of particles, Alam-e-Zarrat. This reminds me of verse chapter 30 verse 30, which is called Ayah of Fitratullah, the verse of nature, that God's habit is same. There is no change in the creation of God. So each cell has a life due to the particle of the soul. Now how do we know that each particle we do know has a life? How does it soul? Our peers have actually told us. Our peers says, Eji rome rome maro shah vase ane antar nahi ek dil. Evo janine bhaktai kijiye. Shah par tak baitha dil. Meaning, O moment within every pore my Imam resides. He isn't removed by a distance. So the translation of Ginan, this verse, O moments within every pore my Imam resides. He isn't removed by a distance of a grain. Knowing this, perform your devotions. The Imam is present and seated in the heart. So Momin cells are blessed and spiritually alive. Momin is used with particular meaning here. Mustajib, the one who studies true knowledge. Does zikr ibadat, meaning ilmu amal. So let us take an example of a zikr al-hay, which is one of the 99 names of Allah given in Quran. And it is the same root word which is in Hazinda, and we say it in our dua, Hayyana Rabbana bis Salam. It's the same word. It means the one who is alive and who can bring us to life. When a mustajib, a mu'min and salih does this zikr, he or she is praying that Mola, you are alive, but I am not, because I'm not connected to my Atma yet. I do not know that knowledge which is inside me, inside my personal world. Bring me to life, Mola Bapa. So beautiful zikr, Al-Hayy. When a moment does zikr with the intention of waking up every particle cell by cell, that moment comes to life spiritually, step by step, cell by cell. When the zikr is done abundantly and regularly, particle by particle, life is experienced in the same person who was physically alive but was following instincts, carnal soul. Now, with ilmu amal, there is a change, felt in particle by particle. So for these moments, Quran says a verse, chapter 39, verse 23. Allah has revealed the most beautiful message in the form of book, consistent with itself, repeating, the skins of those who fear their Lord shiver from it. Then their skin and their heart soften to the remembrance of Allah. That is the guidance of Allah, which He guides whom He wills. Now let us study this verse bit by bit. The ta'wil of the most beautiful message in this verse is actually Isme Azam. So this mustajib, this mu'min who does zikr abundantly during daytime and sits in ibadat at Nurani time, along with purifying the deeds with understanding of true knowledge. With the consistent repetition of all these practices, cells which are living physically come to life spiritually. And then there is a shiver, as if someone was awakened from a deep sleep. We do shiver physically due to physical reasons. If we are very cold or there is a sense of intense fear or harm, we do shiver. And we would have goosebumps all over. There is a verse of Ginan by Pir Sadruddin. It says, जी एक वांजक सूती ने सपनो लाढो सपना मा परस्यो बाल रे तेना जाखक जोठक अति घणा नाटक जोगियुना गुण गाय रे तेने कंकु केरा छापा देरावे मालन लावे हार रे एटले सपनु तार वही गयु केनो रमाड़ियो बाल रे. It means a childless woman slept and saw a dream. In the dream, she gives birth to a child. The birth ritual is being performed on the 6th day after the birth. And girls are singing and singing songs. That child is being sprinkled with saffron and the flower girl is bringing a garland. In the meantime, the dream ends. And this girl, she wakes up from sleep and she says, whose child was I playing with? This verse reminds us that this world is mortal. And when we wake up from the sleep of ghaflat or ignorance, at knowledge level, it is called ilmul yaqeen. So we know it all. We know about this understanding. Logically, cognitively, we all know that this world is mortal. This is not real. But it is easy to forget that. The next minute, as soon as we are busy doing something else, we'll forget that. When there is an experience of that shiver while doing zikr or ibadat or being in ilm class, it is an experience of certainty of I. That you witnessed in your own being, that jolt, that shake, as if there was a quake, a zalzala in your own body. Those cells which were frozen in our being jolts and wakes up. Now that awakening is like the awakening Pir mentions in that Ginan. It is a higher level of awakening. It's not just knowledge based, there is more to it. Because it comes from inside you, from within, from our personal world. That reminder stays with you. It is a miracle of spirituality which one experiences. It is a mark of elevation. It is an evidence that your personal world is awakening. It is an indication that there is an experience of light in your being. It is the reward of ilm ibadat, abundance of zikr, humility and hidden supplication. It is a proof that you are connecting to Imam at spiritual level. This is a miracle for not only soul but body too. It leads us to purification and treatment of spiritual diseases which we have. This is a sign of spiritual progress. Spiritual progress is seen at the level of thoughts, the world of imagination, alam-e-khayal. But it begins at physical level. Our thinking changes. We don't want to judge anyone. We become conscious of our thoughts. We enjoy doing zikr-o-ibadat, attending ilm classes, doing personal search, studying Quran, Farman, Ginan. Then we see continuous growth and changes in our alam-e-khayal. Physical is a door to batin. So one has to physically progress first, have a higher level of morality and ethics to be able to get to this level. When a mu'min sadiq practices life with ethics, is regular in zikr-o-ibadat, is learning ilm, improving amal, for that fortunate moment, this shiver, this experience happens. It can be during ibadat, could be during zikr, during ilm classes. When our physical senses are involved in his remembrance, this fortunate moment's particle shiver, and it leads to purification of that moment from spiritual diseases. They witness, progress, a change in their beings, which we talked about, chapter 39, verse 23. This verse, I'm going to read it again. Allah has revealed the most beautiful message in the form of book, consistent with itself, repeating, the skins of those who fear their Lord shiver from it. Then their skin and their heart soften to the remembrance of Allah. That is, the guidance of Allah which He guides whom He wills. Now this verse also mentions becoming soft. When a mu'min salik is doing zikr and he or she becomes soft in their heart with zikr, it's like our heart sends message of love to each cell and they shiver. Now someone can ask that cells are in animals too, or in a human who lives life of ignorance, he has cells too. So we are not talking about that. We are talking about here Mu'min Salik who is walking on this path, does zikr in abundance, watches his amal. So remember, there is a criteria, prerequisites to this experience. So potentially, every cell in our beings has a potential to elevate itself. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, may our souls be sacrificed to this Imam has said that as human you have two choices, two paths in front of you. You can live life like an animal, and that path goes down. Human soul which was elevated, it's going down to animal level because the life lived is based on instincts. Then Mola says there is another path on which human elevates himself or herself to get to an angel, to become an angel. So that process, that transformation happens from cell by cell, step by step. And that is what we are talking about. This softness makes this moment when he or she does this zikr in abundance, giryan. The word giryan is coming from giryazari, which we all do twice a day with our dua. And we are learning that. I don't want to say without understanding. We are learning it. Alhamdulillah. Shukr alhamdulillah. Giryazari means to shed tears. It's called tazarru, like when we do venti. It literally means to cry intensely. Zaro qatar rona. There's a farman by Sultan Muhammad Shah, Zanzibar, September 9th, 1899. Mullah says, it is all right if you earn money by hard work, but do not attach your heart with it. Do not get delighted if you earn a lot of money. If you lose your hard-earned money, don't be dejected. Don't feel sorrow. Do not be delighted even when you accumulate money. If someone's son dies, he should not grieve. So Mola is saying, even if you experience loss in this worldly life, material or human life, losing a child, can't even think about it as a parent. Mola says you cannot cry. If you lose your hard-earned money, do not cry. So the question would be, why are we given these tears? Mola tells us why. In another farman of Zanzibar, September 17th, 1905, Mola says, the believer does not fear with the sword or any other weapon, even with the death. The death is the cheerful day for the believer. So it's the same thing. Don't cry if someone dies. Loss of life does not mean that you have to cry. So the farman I wanted to refer is this one, September 29th, 1899. Mola says, when you prostrate, ask, make us reach the original abode. Be like the lost child who has been detached from his mother. He cries, when will I get back to my mother? You also become alike. जिस तरह बच्चा अपनी माँ से बिछड़ जाता है या कहीं खो जाता है, तब वो रोता है कि कब मैं माँ के पास जा पहुंचूं, तुम भी ऐसे बनो. So Mola is saying that cry, do giryazari in the feeling of this detachment from Imam, that you are away from Imam's didar, you are away from Imam. So in seeking of Imam's didar, do giryazari. You cry at that time when you want to have didar of Mola Bapa. Feel that pain in your heart. So giryazari, there are Quranic references about it too. And I promised the Zoom group that I will talk about this topic. So inshallah we will continue about this topic there.